Page 35 is Chanson. At the top of the page they talk a little bit about form. This piece is an ABA form, or ternary form, where the A section has a certain melody and the B section is another melody, and then at the end the first melody comes back. Okay. 3/4 time with one sharp. We're in the key of G major, I think. Let's take this one hand at a time and get the notes and the fingering and all that worked out. We have a pickup beat coming in on beat 3. Here, 3 and 1 and 2 and. Just reach up here, and again I connect everything at first, so I'm going to connect. Just reach up. Don't forget the F sharp. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and. That dotted rhythm there in the last measure, the first line. 1 and 2 and. Just watch out. You'll play it right after you play the half note in the left hand. When we get there. 1 and 2 and then cross over. And then immediately right down here. So that's 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And then a measure 8 after the half note. 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 1, crossover here. That's a little more, but you can do that. When the thumb comes down, and they're down here. I would recommend there at the bottom is measure 14. You're here to here, 1, 3, and I recommend going on. It's a 1, 4. Connect this if you can. And then it up here. And then page 36. I don't know how much you're struggling with this, but I'd like to suggest a couple of things here. This top of page 36. You're here. The melody is the top note we want to hear. If I can connect it, I'd like to do that. Of course, playing the other note, it's kind of hard to do. But if you can just cross over here. Can you do that? You need to be able to eventually. So if you can, just relax a little bit and cross over. You may have to turn the hand in a little bit, but don't turn it in a lot. Here. So it's... If you can't do that, then you got to use the fingering in the book. Here. But on measure 19 for the half note, I recommend a 1, 4. So your little finger's ready for the C. And then going on 2, 3, and then 3, 5. I don't like that fingering at all. This is measure 23. They want you to do that. I recommend you use 4th finger on the F sharp. And you're right there. That's fine. And then 3rd finger for the next one, you're in position. And you do that again. We've had this before. And then on measure 28 for the half note, I recommend a 1, 2. Here, just bring the thumb up. Because you need the 3rd finger on the E on the 8th note. And if you do here, you got to use it again. I don't like to use that kind of fingering if I don't have to. So I'm recommending 1, 2 here. And then you can go on. And measure 29. These 8th notes, it's a broken chord. It's a G chord. And I recommend 4th finger on that B, not 3rd. And again, 4th finger on the B. Then reach down. Now here you can use 3rd finger because I need 4th finger for the half note. Here. Otherwise I'd use 4th finger again. So 3rd finger's fine. And then you lift up and go on. And this is the A section again, it's repeated. On page 37, let's go down to last line, where you have a B and a G, and you're holding this down forever. It's like 4 measures worth, whatever. And then the last 2 measures. You can go ahead and use the thumb. And you can do a 2, 1, 2 if you want, or if your hand's big enough, 3rd finger. If you can reach that. If not, 2's okay. You can also use thumb and cross over a third finger. I actually like that better than the fingering in the book. They say 2-1, 2-1. I like 1, 2, 1, 3, 2. You decide on the fingering you're going to use. If it's different in the book, pencil it in and stick with it. Left hand has these broken chords, and they're over an octave span. This is different, because usually it's just an octave. Here at the beginning, where the left hand plays, you would just expect a G, a D, and a G, because that's the octave. But a lot of times they do that. See, the B is here, but rather than playing it here, they'll play it up here. So it's here. So you have to, and you're not covering all these notes at one time. I mean, if you have big hands, you can, but there's no need to, is my point. You're just kind of rolling your hand up as you need to. Here, I use third finger here because it's easier for me to reach here if it's third finger. This is quite a stretch for me on second finger, so third finger if you need to. And I'm just kind of moving the hand up. I'm not covering everything. And then again, the C chord, you're just going up a tenth is all. An interval of a tenth. From here to here is a tenth. Get it? Okay. Next one, don't forget the F sharp. Now this is an octave. And then the measure 4. Now we are octaves. And then measure 7. Look out. Cross over. I don't know why they want you to end on a fourth finger there. Measure 8. That may be an error because third finger is there. Use it. There's no reason to use fourth finger there as far as I'm concerned. And then going on, it's F naturals. And again, it's just an octave. You're just broken octaves or broken chords to an octave. Now, there at the bottom, it's measure 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, it's measure 15. It's the last two measures at the bottom. That's not an octave, it's one more. It's an A. So watch out, because it's a G to an A. And then a G. Now page 36, down here on an E. It's okay if you want to do that. If this doesn't work, I mean, you can do this, so it shouldn't be too bad. Otherwise, you got to use the third finger and here. I'll leave that up to you. It depends on how big your hands are. And then going on. That's not bad. Let's go down to measure 25. Third line here. Same thing you had above. And then going now F naturals. So forth. Then on measure 37. At the bottom of the page, last measure, that's octave G's. You should be able to figure out what that bottom note is. It's underneath the third ledger line below the staff. One ledger line is an E. 2 ledger lines is a C. It's every other note. 3 ledger lines is an A. And that's right under it, so it's a G. They're octave G's. Put the hands together. Should be interesting. So it's 3 and 1 and 2 and hold that down, it's a half note. Now I'm playing everything connected still, as best I can. You can't everything, but do the best you can with it. Measure 4, you're here. Remember that's an F sharp there in the left hand. On measure 11, you're here. And now I want to connect this note here. So I'm just going to slide that out of the way as I do that. To get it out of the way. I need this note anyway. So just as long as you're aware of it. Just you can lift up just a hair early because you got to come down here. left hand, there's a rest in the left hand here. You gotta watch out. Some of these are half notes, you hold them down, and some of them are rests, so you don't hold them down. I don't know. See, that's a half note there. That's a half note in the left hand. So forth. So you work this out. I don't feel I really need to play it all for you. Just get the hands to working together. Then we can add in the articulations. Here, really the only articulation given to speak of are the slurs, and that's in the right hand. Well, they got slurs in the left hand here. Lift up, lift up. That's fine. You can do that. Just lift up, just lift. And the right hand, the slurs. A lot of these slurs are actually phrases, so lift up between each one, and it's going to be different between the hands. So we want to hear the silence between them. So I'm going to lift up here, but hold that down, and then I'm going to keep this down as I lift up here. Here, I'm lifting up at different times in each hand. So work it out really, really, really slowly if you have to. Measure 4s here. Lift up. Lift up here. Lift up. I kind of like it better with the last two measures on 35, excuse me. If you just connect all that together in the left hand, just make all that one, because you're holding the right hand out. Like so, and then lift up together. But that's not what the music says to do, so okay, we'll do what the music says. It says lift up. Lift up. Okay, and then going on. This left hand, just connect all these eighth notes together. In measure 21, you have a rest in the left hand now, so be careful. Except right there's a half note. Here it's a rest. So here the slurs over both here. It's all that's together and it needs to sound. And then lift up. So put in these phrases and these, lift up between these slurs. It adds a lot to the music. Then when you get all that kind of worked out, you don't have to go as fast as I'm going. You go as slow as you need to, and you need to be able to get rid of any hesitations you got. The beat needs to be steady eventually at some speed. Then the dynamics. It applies to the melody, which is the right hand. It's moderately soft at the beginning, mezzo piano. Whatever you think this sort of soft is, the left hand needs to be very soft. Keep it out of the way. So forth. And when you get to the end of the second line, just come as soft as you are here, come down even more. Try. The right hand's going to die away on its own, so that's taken. Now all of a sudden you go up to moderately loud in the right hand. The left hand's still soft. Now I'll come down moderately soft. And then measure 13, crescendo up to moderately loud again. And then go go back down to moderately soft at the bottom. The left hand's actually going down to very soft because the right hand's going to die away on its own. And then moderately loud going on, but that's the melody. And it's the top note of the right hand. If you can, bring it out. If not, just play the right hand louder than the left. Crescendo up to you were moderately loud. You're going to kind of go to loud here. Now, moderately soft. Crescendo. So then moderately loud again. Now go up to loud. This part at measure 29 is the loud here. Down a little bit to moderately loud, moderately soft, and slow down. So you made that third line there, 29 measures. 29, 30, you're getting softer. It's like a long day crescendo where they've written out the dynamics for you. They could have just given you a big old hairpin in there. I don't know. Soft. And now they have a moderately soft at the beginning of measure 33. But I think that moderately soft needs to be at the pickup, at the end of measure 32. Those notes need to be moderately soft. So. This is the same dynamics you've had before. And at the end, the bottom line, we'll start it with measure 45. You're moderately soft there, you're going to go up to moderately loud. Soft, now soft. Now moderately soft in the right hand. Slow down and get softer. The left hand needs to be very soft at the end. How soft can you make that? We want to hear the B over the G. We want to hear that. So you have to be careful on that. Then the flowing expressively part. We'll just no hesitation, just let it flow, gently. Then on top of all that, they've added pedal. I think it sounds very nice without pedal. The pedal will help connect things a little bit, make them a little more legato, and it'll add the overtones. The problem is it'll mush everything up. And I think this sounds prettier if it's cleaner, but that's just my opinion. They're saying overlapping pedal. So if I do it that way, this is what it sounds like. I'm going to push the notes down first and then the pedal. I'm going to change the pedal at each measure after I play the notes. That's what it sounds. I mean, if that's okay with you, go for it. I'd like to take out some of the mushiness. I'd like to hear the phrases. So if since it's in 3/4 time, if I do a waltz pedaling. A waltz pedaling is like when you just pedal like the first beat of a measure or the first 2 beats of a measure. Well, if I do just the first beat of a measure, it's this way. If I do the first 2 beats of the measure and lift up on beat 3, it's this way. To me, that's a much cleaner sound. I'm not mushing up all these eighth notes all the time. I can hear some of the phrasing, not all of it, and whether I hear the phrasing or not, I'm still lifting up in the hands. I want to feel the phrasing. So I think I would prefer just pedal the first 2 beats of each measure, and some of the measures you don't pedal at all. So you experiment with the pedaling and you decide which kind of pedaling you like and what you don't like or whatever it is. Now you have a page turn on here, and the beat really needs to flow. So how are you going to get in the page turn because the hands are kind of busy? Well, unfortunately, you either get somebody to turn the page for you or you memorize page 35, so you don't have to deal with it. Memorize the whole thing would be better. Otherwise, you just simply have to leave out notes because you got to have time to reach up with one of the hands to turn the page. You can't leave out melody notes. We need the melodies. That's the right hand, so we can't leave out the notes there. So it's going to have to be left hand turning the page, which means we got to leave out notes in the left hand. How many notes you leave out is up to you. How fast can you turn the page? So at the bottom of page 35, you're here. Maybe right after I play that G, I lift up and do that, and then after I turn the page, it would be like a fermata stuck in there, and then I can go on, so forth. You'll have to figure out for you what's best in turning the page. I've heard piano players do it like this, and then stop, and then they'll turn the page, and then they'll go on. No, please don't do that. Figure out a way so the music continues without any interruptions somehow. I'd like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics. And because it has a page turn, then I'm just going to do page 35 and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn the page just like I told you not to do. Then I'm going to count us in again, and then we'll do pages 36 and 37 and finish it up. Again, we're not trying to perform it. I just want to check notes and rhythms. Pedaling I'm going to do is what I suggested. Basically, it's the first 2 notes of most measures. Although sometimes I'll lift it up so I can hear the phrasing. You have to be flexible on these things. So I'm going to give us 2 counts because we come in on beat 3. Ready and go, and. Turn the page. 1 and ready and go, and.
3.